What's going on there, kings and queens and everybody in between? It's your boy MFC back at you with yet another video, and today is something a little bit special because we have a lot of dark things to talk about. Yeah, I understand how you thought y'all were getting an upper, but we're immediately going into a downer because, folks, I don't know what has been out there in the water. I don't know what's out there in your soaps. I don't know what's out there if there's some sort of pheromone that's been released into the wild. But things aren't good, at least stateside. Things aren't going well. We recently celebrated an Independence Day, which, look, some of y'all have gotten fireworks and y'all have been setting them bitches off since March, and I want to file a fucking complaint, but that's neither here nor there. We'll get there when we get there. But Subtle Fraudulence, man, how you doing, buddy? You doing all right? You doing well?
Well, you see, sir, Mr. MFC, what I need to tell you is that it doesn't matter if I'm well. What really matters is if the woke mob is well, because I have one thing to say. Up yours, woke mob. Try and cancel me.
Hey, man, it's not about canceling you, Mr. Peterson. I mean, Mr. Fraudulent. If you cancel yourself, everything will just be a lot easier, bro.
See, society has gone into massive chaos. We've just become morally bankrupt. We've ruined everything. We've been playing this video game called DNF Duel, and it is just it's ruined all of you. All of you.
You saw thick thighs and voluptuous vixens, and you thought life would hand you all of your fixins. You can't
saw
do
lollies and Maximilian and wind and a crusader.
Next
Jesus
thing you'll
Christ,
tell me this
our
is
Lord
Yu
and Savior.
Hakusho. But nah, man, like, bro, I don't know. I don't understand that guy. Like, for all I know, he could just be someone who at one point was a great psychiatrist, was a great, philosopher even. But all I've known him to be is kind of like one of those whiny shit posting grifters who are just trying to garner some sort of, hold amongst the masses on Twitter. That's all I really seen him do. Most of his stuff is like crazy hot takes, and he's talking about the whole, what was it, the Canada C-16 bill? And when you look at it, even the people who brought the bill into existence, a lot of them have even said, the chances of you going to jail for calling someone the wrong pronoun, even if you did it on purpose repeatedly, is basically non-existent. Like, this is supposed to be like adding, gender identity to things that can be protected under the, the clauses of hate speech and stuff the like you calling someone or misgendering someone intentionally isn't going to lead to jail time. But if you let like Peterson and his goons tell it, they make it seem like if you walked to someone and said, "Excuse me, sir," and then it was like someone who was like trans male to female and you called them sir, you're gonna hear woo, they're gonna throw you on the floor and be like, "That's right, stop resisting," and you're dead. Like, you're just got like no one's getting packed up for the pronoun game. That's number one. Number two, when they're talking about, like, even if you were to once again go out of your way to be an asshole about it, they said at worst, if they even if they could press it that far, they'd probably just give you like a sentencing of like maybe like a couple months of sensitivity training. That's about it. It's not like they got you out here going to fucking work camps and got you in there doing hard time with the criminals, But I don't know.
Okay.
Talk to me. Talk to me.
The speed run here is that he was a college professor who is also a psychologist, accredited psychologist, etc., who spent a lot of his time focused on masculinity in society and talking. He's the clean your room guy. You see, as men, you won't be able to show your worth to women unless you clean your room and take care of yourself. Take a shower out there, whatever, right? And then he suddenly started spouting like, anti-trans rhetoric in the guise of like protecting masculinity, et cetera, et cetera. It's crazy out there, whatever, right?
I mean, at first I was like, hey man, he might be onto something. You got to have a clean room, got to have, be able to see your carpet. You come inside, you can show off what you're prideful about, whether it be your posters, your hung up memorabilia, whether it be, I don't know, some people like to hang up their diplomas and their degrees, stuff like that. It's your house, it's your real estate, and you want to show it off. It takes a pride in yourself and your surroundings, your curated, well-kept, surroundings. And then not only that, but make sure yourself is looking nice. You know, you ain't got like big ass fucking toothpaste stain just dripping down. Oh, excuse me. We're talking about people who don't even use toothpaste. These are people. These people, they just like, they got sweat stains all over the place all the time, 24/7, 365. They've never looked clean in their life. They never heard what lotion is. They look disheveled. They look like they're ready to just fall apart at the seams. You know the people.
I mean, he started off, preaching that gospel of like, take a damn shower, don't be dirty, and you'll be fine, or whatever, right? And of course, white nationalists started, taking hold of his rhetoric, and they're like, oh, we like what this guy is saying. Yeah, they're doing it because us white men, we're so disenfranchised. And he's like, what the hell? And of course, he came out. He was like, I don't fuck with those people over there. Oh, right, I do not. Describe myself as an alt-right person. Yeah, it's like I'm not one of them. I don't like that they're like adopting my, whatever. Like fuck all those people there. I just want men to be okay. And that man started like crying in the club about like man's problems, and it was just like, bro, you're married with kids, so I don't know why you're like I don't know what's going on in your life, but like that's crazy, whatever. So
I like how you said crying in the club, bro.
I mean, flash forward.
My man was going through it, huh?
He was going through it. Like, it's crazy. He was in an interview talking about, he was like on like a radio show or something, talking about, the state of like men and masculinity in society, and was like crying about this. And it's like, bro, it's not that deep. He's like, come on, man, I just want this. I want men to be okay. I want them to succeed on Tinder and find a woman and live a fulfilling life. And it's just like, whoa, relax. And now, flash forward, this is a dude who will go on Twitter, go on a thread with like a plus size model, who's like, oh, hey, this is me, this is my picture of me modeling, and be like, I don't find this woman to be very attractive. I think society has been, destroyed by us, actually supporting the woke mob and supporting these fat models. This woman is out of shape, blah, blah, whatever. And people being like, hey, get the fuck out of here. That woman makes me horny. How dare you say that? She's hot. And he's like, and then Twitter bans him, or he's like, you know what? I'm gonna ban myself. I'm just gonna close my Twitter. Comes back a week later. Goes on a crazy rant about Elliot Page out of nowhere. What? Maybe he saw the new season of Umbrella Academy and was like, why are they calling him a man? What happened to El? It's just like, sir.
Why are they calling him a man? All right.
Yeah. It's like, sir, what are you talking about? We don't care. And then getting banned by Twitter, because Twitter, of course, being like, bro, you can't do that. There are like millions of people looking at your tweets. You can't sit here and just openly dead name somebody. You can't just openly be like, oh, they've butchered this woman's boobies and turned her into a man. Look what society has done. It's like, no. Elliot is happy. Elliot has been like, yo, this is the happiest I've been in a long ass time. And Elliot was never gonna acknowledge you in your existence anyways, because Elliot was a gay woman who then came out as a man, and then went through the process to get the affirming surgeries to be a man, and you're like losing your shit, and it's like, over what? He's happy. We're all happy with it. He, was in a show that we all know about. The character in the show got changed because it made sense for the character anyways. And then we, like, all the reactions of the people in the show is exactly how society would have reacted. Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad you're happy. We love you and stuff. Anyways, we have bigger problems to deal with over here. So, let's
it kind of reminds me of the whole thing where I saw a tweet earlier today that was just like, you guys over here talking about, oh, I don't like using pronouns. I don't like adapting. I don't like the fact that you're changing the game and I got to remember different pronouns. But y'all will go out of your way to meticulously remember, oh, when this guy worked with WWE, his name was Daniel Bryan. But now he's in AEW. His name is Bryan Danielson. Get it right. That's a real thing, by the way. That's a real thing. I just want to make sure that I point that out, due to, copyrights and things of that nature. And, people are very upset when it happens, to the point to where they make fun of commentators when the commentators at these events get the names wrong.
Exactly.
So
And
it's
like,
like, so it's like when you say I don't understand. No, you understand. You get it.
my
If
thing
anything,
is,
oh, go on.
when people do that whole thing where they're like, society doesn't want to call this person by this, and all these new pronouns and blah blah blah. It's like, okay, well then what if I just, like, since you say that you're a man, what if I just say that you're a woman for the rest of your life? I just call you Jordana Peterson or Jordana Brewster, or like whatever. I call you something else. I call you Michaela. Call you by your daughter's name, and then I just say that you're a woman, regardless of you looking and acting like society's definition of a typical man.
And then I would just ignore you. Like, that's exactly what
Yeah.
the fuck I would do, bro.
They're like, excuse me, sir,
So,
I'm a man.
so don't be shocked when you get ignored.
Yeah, I am a man. Oh, well, that's nice. Anyways, yeah. So this lady over here is going crazy, guys. It's wild. Like you can just do that and see what happens. But like all of that happens, Duke gets banned, and then he makes this crazy video going on a wild rant. The thing that people didn't realize is that this video is like his announcement of saying Ben Shapiro has reached out to me on his network, The Daily Wire, and now I will be a content creator on The Daily Wire, making videos like this daily for you guys. That's why that video was so, yeah, it was like the production for the video was so great, and was so like, it looked a certain way. It looked like other Daily Wire like videos. And the Daily Wire is like, yeah, guys, subscribe to our platform so that you can see more shit like this. It's like,
look, the only thing, and I mean the only thing that I know this man for, because I didn't know anything about this until I went to go look into what he's talking about. But apparently this dude was trying to ship a like bust of himself.
Yeah.
Like he was trying to get his audience to buy busts of himself, like actual, like, little miniature statues, of his, obviously like his profile. And it's just like, word? Who is that? What type of big egomaniac move is this? So I went to go look, and that's how I found out some of the stuff that you're talking about right now. I'm just like, this motherfucker has lost their composure.
This is also the guy who proposed the mandatory girlfriends type beat,
Okay, now when you say mandatory
ideal.
girlfriends, what, I need you to break that down for the uninitiated.
The assigned girlfriends thing that like a lot of incels are like, yeah, that makes sense. If a man is too lonely and can't find his successive women, he should be assigned a girlfriend or a life mate via that one Black Mirror episode where everyone is assigned a life mate and they're all fucking miserable. So yeah, he like subscribed to that idea to like solve like inceldom and anything that involves like men being lonely, as opposed to addressing like the causes of
men being
loneliness.
Lonely.
Yeah. So
whatever will we do?
He's also like well known for like a quote that he made about like lobsters, like equating like our society and the way our society functions to that of lobsters, and that we should function the way lobsters do instead, because they're happy, which yeah.
You
Okay.
want to press X the doubt on that one, my boy? Like, I just feel look, I'm no lobster expert, I'm just saying.
It just makes me think of that movie with what is it, Colin Farrell, about him turning into a lobster, I believe, which also had maybe that movie. Now I'm thinking about it, maybe that movie was made to make fun of Jordan Peterson, because like that movie was about people who are getting like assigned life mates, and like a man decided that he wanted to become a lobster, and it's a lot of weird shit going on. But like in hindsight, it's like maybe that was just like I watched everything Jordan Peterson said, and like I want this movie to show you guys he's weird.
Look, it can't be any weirder than that movie that ends up with some dude turning into a walrus and the man's just like
made by Kevin Smith.
No, not Kevin Smith.
Made by Kevin Smith and bonus. His daughter is in that movie with another girl who I believe is like the daughter of another like well-known actor. But those characters work in a random like mini mart that main character goes to at some point, and they get a spin-off movie called Yoga Hosers, which I believe is about them fighting zombies.
I don't know why, but that's funny to me.
Look, Tusk should have just ended with that guy dying. Like someone should have just killed him. Like he wouldn't want to live like that.
We should let this man get fired off with Clerks, and just that should have been the end.
Instead, we're getting Clerks 3.
No, we are, aren't we? Like, you're not making that up. That's not
making. The trailer came out this week. Clerks 3 was announced. The trailer came out. I don't understand why, but maybe fans of the God, what is the View Askew universe are like happy about this, but I thought Clerks 2 was good enough to end that. And I think Harley Quinn Smith is also in Clerks 2, as well as Kevin Smith's wife. So like, what else needs to be done?
It doesn't need to be done. The job was finished, bro.
Also, one personal thing, like, Kevin Smith has lost like a lot of weight after the Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back and all the other Jay and Silent Bob movies and whatnot, right? But he puts on like the same coat, and so it just looks weird seeing him in that outfit now, because it's like, all this is like too big for him. I think maybe in that last like sequel movie, they like made a joke about that sort of thing, but he, I don't know. It just looks weird. It just looks weird that he's wearing the like big, jacket that was for the character who's supposed to be, the big silent dude or whatever. And obviously he doesn't look like that anymore. And I don't know, like it's fun. You could get a smaller jacket or something, or like, change up Silent Bob's like outfit.
Nah, he about to be he about to be Quiet Bob now.
Not Quiet Bob.
Yeah, no longer silent.
I don't even like Clerks 2 had like the donkey show and everything too. So it's like, what even is going to be in this movie? And do we need it? Like, is it going to be funny? Probably not.
It's like if you were to come out with Borat 3, like we didn't even want the second one.
Look,
but we got sequel,
it. What is it? Jay and Silent Bob. What is the Jay and Silent Bob like ending movie? The one that's after Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Oh, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. That's what it was called. The movie that was about them rebooting Blunt Man and Chronic. That movie had references in it that were kind of funny, but for the most part, it was like we could have done without it. And I feel like Clerks 3 is going to be on that same level where it's like, we don't need this, but someone wants to make money off of it. I know Jay and Silent Bob Reboot was either produced or distributed by Saban Films. Saban, the people who gave us, the old American Power Rangers series. They gave us the Jay and Silent Bob movie, which that reboot movie shows that maybe Saban Films has fallen on some hard times, because they've been putting out a lot of like mediocre stuff just to be like, hey kids, remember Jay and Silent Bob? Yeah, watch this. Isn't that going to be great? And it's like, nah, it's not. It's just not. And people will pay money, they'll watch it, but maybe hate watch it or something, or like the minority of people who watched all the movies and like are obsessed with Jay and Silent Bob lore will watch Clerks 3, but I don't get movies where it's like the movie before it kind of like finished everything, where you're like, yeah, these people are still gonna live, but I don't need to see their lives anymore. And they're like, hey, here's some more. Isn't this awesome? You get to see your friends again. It's like, they're not my friends.
Look, man, it's like when we get a movie and it's like, that was neat. We get another movie and we're like, that's pretty neat. Then like 20 or 30 years go by and then they're like, Bill and Ted Face the Music. And it's like, no, we did not request that. That is not something that was ordered, man. Look at the receipt.
Yeah.
We didn't need this. But hey, we got it. Much like we got Coming to America 2. We didn't ask for this. And then y'all just made like a weird jank retelling of the first one with new characters and having Eddie Murphy be be a mentor character and father figure, and it's all you did.
Yeah.
But once again, I digress. For now, it is time to talk about July 4th, Robert Crimo III. And look, I understand that like there are plenty of people who are conservative and, you know, very right leaning, and they say things like, you see, we don't need stricter gun laws. What we need is for people to be more educated on what guns actually do. What we really need is we need to encourage more people to have more guns so we can protect our land and bear our Second Amendment rights, the right to bear arms. And while on one hand, I can hear you, but on the other hand, I want you to take a look at this scenario. You see, Robert Crimo, this isn't the first time that he's been entangled, his first entanglement, so to speak, with law enforcement. Because you see, a while ago, apparently he was making statements like, I want to kill my family. I want to kill everyone. Bloodbath. You know, things of that nature that would pretty much register a red flag to anybody with a normal functioning, very filled to the brim with ridges brain, right?
You know, something that would put someone on a list that we could look at and be like, okay, maybe that guy shouldn't get a weapon that's meant to kill people. Like,
right? Like, you know, just something that, you know, you would just consider. But hear me out. So the police end up going to the premises, and they find that this man's got over a dozen knives. And, you know, they take all of his weapons from him, because if you don't trust a person with a knife, how can you possibly trust them with a firearm? And even though that whole thing went apparently just out the fucking window, and that's something that is on his record, people know of, people are, you know, aware that he did this, people didn't take a hard enough look at Crimo, because shows up to the 4th of July with a multitude of guns and just starts airing them bitches out and starts hitting people, taking lives, injuring others. And somehow, some way, with a giant red flag, such as the aforementioned knife confiscation incident, he was still able to procure not only functioning guns, but complementary ammunition as well. So clearly, gun laws need to be tougher, and the people who are selling guns need to be shaken down repeatedly for their cut. Like, I hate to say it, but there needs to be some huge punishments doled out to the people who sell these people these guns, because y'all are not doing your due diligence when you're giving people access to these guns. I do think the people who sell these guns, especially to someone who's a vet. Now, I'm not talking about you sell a gun to a normal person and then that normal person has some nonsensical fuck up. All right. Not talking about that. I'm talking about someone who clearly has red flags. Those red flags need to be publicly available, especially if it's something that hints at violence or, you know, mental health issues that could lead to a violent streak, a mean streak, whatever you want to call it. And I do think that needs to be handed over almost at the same time that the money would be handed over in a transaction to purchase a gun. Honestly, I think it should be beforehand, but I digress.
Yeah.
And I feel like it should be a problem. And I mean, it should be really hard to get a gun. A gun is not something that you should be able to procure last minute unless you're like in the TSA verified line. Like, you've bought guns before, you've been a gun owner for like a decade, and we haven't heard even so much as a little bo peep as an incident coming out of your camp. All right. Like, those people, sure, you might be able to clear it, you know, but at the same time, somebody getting like their first gun and they want to buy like several, or they're going to multiple different vendors. Because if you get them from multiple different vendors, it's like, oh, well, you only have to fool, you know, some of these guys one time. It's like, all right, cool. Hear me out. How is it that multiple people are able to get this person a gun and they have all these red flags in their history? It just seems off. But subtle fraudulence, I'm gonna give you the floor. What do you think about this scenario? Because I remember you were bringing up his father earlier, and woof.
So I will. Okay, I will give one. I guess I'll shoot some bail for the pro gun people here. When you mentioned that, you know, like certain people should be able to, you know, get guns, et cetera, I'll say at first for the legislation, just to be, understandable to those people, we could just say, certain guns, like, anything that is meant for like any kind of like military like force, or anything that's meant for like mass destruction, as opposed to, like a pistol, anything that's automatic, anything that's, an AR of some sort, anything that's like, an armor rifle, whatever, anything like that. You gotta check and make sure that this person is like responsible enough to wield these weapons, because they're invented to just cause mass damage. They're not meant to like help you cook, or get the bugs out of your house, or anything crazy, anything like that. Like they're meant to do damage to people or otherwise, so if you want to make it so that someone who feels like they're in danger can get like a pistol fairly easy, so that they can protect themselves in a situation where they need to protect themselves, sure. But that person doesn't need like a fucking shotgun. You know what I mean? They don't need a AR-15. They don't need all of that to protect themselves from someone who's gonna like try and like break into their home, or like accost them on the street, or anything like that. The gun show loophole has to be like addressed, because at gun shows, people can go there, they can find multiple vendors who are going to give them guns, and not really like check very much into this person's background, or even care. They're like, oh, hey, you trying to get this? Oh, you got like 2K, 3K, whatever. Oh, there you go. Look, man, the NRA conference had people who are selling RPGs, man. Like, what is a civilian doing with an RPG? You know what I mean? Like they're not blowing shit up. Word. What are they doing? They're gonna try and protect their farm from the cows, or the boars, or the cougars that are gonna try and like ruin their livestock or some shit. No, that's not meant to deal with that kind of situation. So what else is this person doing with this weapon, right? So at the very least, just be like, hey, sir, why are you buying this RPG anyways? Hey, you know what? Where are you from? What's your name? Can I see your ID? You were kind of arrested like 2 weeks ago for suspicion of murder. I yeah, buddy. I don't think you should have this, man. It's not in my best interest to sell you this weapon, because you might go back to that person's place, or you might even just go to the police station. I don't want that on me, man. But instead, someone basically goes to like the equivalent of like a shopping mall for guns, and they're like, all right, I want this one, this one, this one, and this one. And they're like, right this way, sir. Go ahead. It doesn't matter that it's Robert Primo doing it. It doesn't matter that it's your grandma doing it. Whatever.
I mean, by all technicality, miniguns are legal. Now, granted, it's going to cost you like almost $500,000, because that shit is expensive as fuck. The upkeep is expensive as fuck. And yes, these things may be able to dush out 6,000 rounds a minute. They go fucking crazy, but it's also gonna cost you like $600 a bullet. Like,
exactly, and
you'll go for broke. But the fact is, you can get them.
Yeah, that shouldn't be the gate that's keeping people from buying these things. It shouldn't be like the price. It shouldn't just be like, oh, I would buy that, but it's very expensive. It should be like, no, sir. Like, you shouldn't be able to buy this because you have like been to jail in the last 2 weeks over something that involved like literally taking somebody else's life. Like, you should definitely stay away from these weapons right here, because first off, people who have nothing to lose are going to just spend all their money on the weapons, because they think, once I get the weapons, I don't need to have money moving forward because I'll be dead. Like, so you can't just like decide, oh, well, guns are expensive, so that means that the average crackhead is not going to be able to buy a gun. It's like,
sure, that may be true. Like, that may be true. They may not be able to buy a gun, but if they're able to get access to crack, maybe y'all forgot what crackhead strength is. That's a real thing, by the way. That adrenaline, when it's pumping at max, You can do some crazy shit. So it's not about whether they can afford a gun. It's can they get a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, we've seen crackheads get tased, and they just look at you dead in the face, point at you, take a drag of the cigarette, and go, "I'll get you, bitch." Like,
where's my money, man? I just need the money. I don't care that you trying to hurt me or whatever. Just give me the money, and I'll be out of here. Whatever. But like, the other annoying thing is that when you, it has gotten to a point where we can count on the dot how long it'll take before we have to have this conversation again. When was the last big mass shooting? Actually, the last big event that happened that people have been talking about, people are still talking about, is the overturning of Roe v. Wade by pro-life representatives who are like, we're trying to protect the lives of people by making sure that babies are born and whatnot. It's like, okay, if you're all about protecting life, maybe you should stop the Robert Primos of the world from getting a tool that is made to take away life. Like, it was invented.
I could have swore there was also another big shooting on the 4th in like Minnesota.
Yep, there was. You see, that's the thing. This is not an isolated incident. There were 2 shootings.
There was more than that. Yeah. I know because there's one in Wisconsin, but there was 1 killed and 4 injured. And oddly enough, that was in Kenosha, Wisconsin. It's almost like it was a callback.
Yeah. So it's just like this happens so often that we have to have like more than just a conversation of like what to do about it. We have to actually do something. But every time it gets brought up that something needs to be done to make sure that guns are not in the hands of like psychotic people, because of course the talking point is that these people, we have to do something about mental health because these people are the like mentally disturbed. They needed to see a therapist. They shouldn't have been stopped from getting guns. They should have seen a therapist, and all of these things would have been fine. And it's like, no. If that person needs to be on a list, if that person needs to be see a therapist, they shouldn't have a tool that's meant for destruction. That's simple as that. But you got people who are literally saying shit like, "I'll shoot my grandkids before I let you guys put any legislation that'll stop us from getting guns." And it's like, you would not be stopped from getting guns unless you're trying to self-report and tell us that you're one of those people who should be on the list. Because if that's the case, then we are just justice is being served. Like, yes, ma'am, you should not own a weapon. If you're saying that you're going to shoot your grandchildren, you should not own a weapon. If there's any sort of like doubt that you might use it on your family or your neighbors or any people who are innocent. Hell, maybe some people who are not that innocent in the first place. Like,
here's the thing, right? Here's
robbing the store, you don't need to murder him.
Here's the thing. I don't think that she really meant what she said. Personally, I just think that she can't read.
I'm not shooting that bail anymore.
Because I mean, hey, you're right. There could be a chance. But basically, what she said was, I have 5 grandchildren. I would do anything, can't stress this anything part enough, anything to protect my 5 grandchildren, including as a last resort,
my grandchildren.
Hold on. Including as a last resort, shooting them if I had to protect the lives of my grandchildren. And it's like, ma'am,
protect them from who? That's the
thing. It sounds like in this hypothetical scenario, you're the threat, unless you're trying to tell me in your mind, we're talking about a post-apocalyptic zombie apocalypse, and one of them grandchildren is about to bite the other one and infect them. Or one of your grandchildren is clinically insane, got their hands on a gun and was going to shoot up the other grandchildren. You said, not on my watch. And you pulled out the blicky and went bloop, bloop. Like, maybe these are the 2 scenarios that were in your head. But she then went on to hit out at Democrats for attempting to, as she put it, take away my right to protect my grandchildren and the rights of a law-abiding citizen anywhere and everywhere to protect their own children. And obviously the video has gone viral of her Freudian slip there. And then she hit it with it never ceases to amaze me the lengths gun control zealots will go. Well, I mean, clearly we ain't gone far enough yet because like y'all say that gun control in some states are strict. They're really not. They're quite loose.
Yeah.
Because you could still get the guns. In some areas, it is easier to get a gun, a firearm, a rifle of some sort, than it is to procure some Black and Milds. All right?
Look, people who like owning guns, people who want to purchase guns for whatever reason, whether it's protection, collection, whatever. The people who are like complaining about the legislation that would make buying a gun more difficult need to understand that it's not really going to affect you in a negative way if you're not a shitty person who should not own a gun.
Yeah, like if you're not coming on Twitter and you're not, on Facebook with your real name talking about some, every now and then I see this Black neighbor walking down the street and I always think to myself, the neighborhood would be such a safer place.
Put that guy on a list. Like
if he just
say that,
spontaneously was no longer able to walk on my sidewalk. Like, all right, mate, like you going on the list.
Yeah.
Of people who can't buy guns.
Yeah.
If you're saying things like, I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit racist, but I honestly think that those Asian people should go back to where they came from. All right, buddy, you might want to be considered to be put on the list of people who shouldn't be able to purchase a firearm. If you're saying, I don't know, man, I just feel like I see that group of people over there. I see those whites, and I think they out to get me. I think we need to hashtag kill all whites. All right, maybe you shouldn't be allowed to purchase a fucking firearm. Have we ever thought about that? Because I think you should think about it. Because if you're someone who is a law, as you guys love to put it, in quote, a law-abiding citizen here in the US of A, then stricter gun laws just pretty much is just, the shipping and handling part taking a little bit longer in the process for you. That it's really not stopping you from getting all the guns you like. If you're safe, good, human certified, like the TSA pre-check, instead of getting your gun in like 3 to 6 weeks, might be like 8 to 12. If that. If you're real good, we can just get you that shit over the counter like you're buying some fucking Advil.
Yeah.
It doesn't really affect you.
Let's think about this. Pro-lifers saw abortion as like a threat. They saw even like the choice of abortion as like a threat to human life being a thing, and so they mobilized to get Supreme Court seats, to get the positions they needed, to get the votes that they needed to overturn the statute that's like allowing people to even have the choice in the first place. They did that for something that involves a choice made by someone else about, them bringing a life into existence. What is it? 9/11 happened, people deemed terrorists flew their planes into buildings and killed tons and tons of people. And immediately we were like, we got to do something about this. They shouldn't have been allowed on the plane in the first place. We should have been able to catch the fact that they were terrorists and like make sure that, they had guns, bombs, whatever, and like stop them from getting on the plane in the first place. And then, they increased security. The TSA was like created as a result of that, if I remember correctly. So like, they created a division that would be dedicated to protecting people on planes from people who are trying to kill them using planes. We've had how many of these like incidents of someone getting guns, going to a public area, a public event, a public place, a place where your children are at, and just killing indiscriminately. And we've seen every single time we see that this person involved did or said something that showed that they were gonna do it. or we needed to be even a little bit concerned that they might do it.
Like the kid who shot up the middle school a few months ago. You remember that?
Yeah.
And then like you found out he had Instagram posts like, "I am the devil. I've come to reap your souls," and it was just like, I hate to quote Mr. Krabs, but that was definitely a watch out for Squidward ass moment.
Yep.
And sometimes, yeah, it's as simple as that. Did you watch out for fucking Squidward?
Robert Primo, like as we find out more and more about this person, we find out that he might have been a clout goblin, he was a SoundCloud rapper, etc. But we find out that the dad definitely heard the son say on different occasions that he was going to try and kill everyone, whatever that meant. And the dad was like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm still going to take you to get a gun, son. I mean, it's a tradition. It's a part of the, like the bullshit. After having like knives confiscated for an incident that involved him possibly killing someone, like, or hurting someone, the moment that person is involved in a situation where they try to take a life with any kind of weapon, it should be like a flag. It pops up. It says, "Hey, this dude literally just got out for like a violent crime." And it wasn't like we made a mistake, he's innocent or whatever. It was like, nah, he got arrested and he got out, and now he's trying to buy a different weapon, a stronger weapon. It should be like,
I mean, he also said he was planning on making another attack in Wisconsin. He strongly considered doing that one. So it's like, come on, guys.
Like, something has to be done to like stop these things from happening. Instead of,
has SoundCloud taken down his profile? They had to have now by now, right?
I would hope so, but it's weird. Like, what?
Because I would hate to find out that man had listeners and he got a song called "Watch on July 4th, I'm about to light it up." Like, I don't need to know that we had that much information on it.
There was some college shooting. Maybe it was like a shooting at a college here, or was that like some other college in like the last year or two or something, that involved somebody who had a SoundCloud, and like on the SoundCloud profile they had like all these like audio files that were like showing that they were very disturbed, and that they were definitely like planning something that was going to involve like killing a bunch of people. And it was only after the fact that shit got like spread around, and it was like, see guys, if anybody paid attention to this person on this public profile, on this public platform, would have been able to notice that something was up, and then we would have been able to stop this person from like killing a bunch of people
Right.
for whatever reason. And we didn't. People got hurt, and it sucks. And like, we keep getting into the situation where it's like, oh yeah, the signs are all right there, but we didn't prevent anything. People got hurt, and now the idiot is like yelling on Fox News or about how the weed is the problem, about how the left is the problem. Like,
not the weed, brother.
First and foremost, Robert Primo looks like he was definitely on harder things than weed. If you want to say drugs are the problem,
hey man, he looked like he's in the same genre as Little Xan.
Exactly. If you want to say drugs are the problem, then you're thinking about harder drugs.
He hitting that fentanyl.
Yeah, like, now's not the time to reefer madness this whole bullshit, when we all know damn well that weed is not causing the man to decide that he's gonna get up, buy a gun, buy multiple guns, and then actually just start like killing people. Like, the weed is probably gonna keep the man at home.
I mean, to be fairly honest, if weed had a direct correlation with this, as many shootings as we'd have a lot more.
Yeah.
But you want to know who else would have a lot more?
Who?
The rest of the planet that has weed at their disposal.
Exactly. Like, we have more than enough, like even like anecdotal evidence that shows that nobody's smoking weed and then all of a sudden getting like super violent. This is not 28 days later. I'm not gonna be take a hit and all this. I have to destroy everything. Like, no, it's not.
And that's if that's the case,
Like,
Wiz Khalifa should be on top of the kill feed.
that's what I'm saying. Like, look, Willie Nelson started trending because whenever they mention like people who smoke weed, they talk about Snoop Dogg, Wiz Khalifa. They tend to mention black people. They tend to mention people who are making rap music, whatever, and say that the music is the problem, the lifestyle is the problem, all that. But it's like, hey, what about Willie Nelson? He's known for smoking weed, and you guys love that guy. So what's up? What's going on? And they're like, uh.
Hey man, they listen to Weed Man, the podcast man, Mr. Rogan.
Yeah.
So like, don't tell me. Don't tell me. Like I see what they do over there.
Exactly.
It happens on y'all side of the fence as well. It's like that sometimes. But speaking of being on the wrong side of the fence, man, what you think about the whole Brittany Griner situation? Speaking of weed on the other side.
I think that whole situation is like really fucked up. Like, to my knowledge, she was caught with weed on a plane. Not even like out in public or anything like that. Like on a plane on her way to come back to the States from Russia after like playing like I believe a basketball game out there because she's she's a basketball player. And one, rather than let her come home and charge her for possession or whatever the fuck you want to do here, they decided to hold her indefinitely over there and force her into a situation kind of like, oh my god, it's the ASAP Rocky situation, man. Like, they're just gonna like hold her over there for as long as they fucking want to, and then like try and like drudge up other charges on here, or like try and make it sound like she was gonna like destroy the universe with weed.
I could have swore that there was a Marine that was it this year. No, I think it was at the start of the pandemic. It might have been at the start of the pandemic. Somebody could check this, but I could have swore there was a Marine who I think they locked him up for 9. Like they got him on a 9-year sentence. Talk about he was being violent towards the police.
Yeah, the college kid.
Yeah. And then like on the same day, the State Department was like, nah, bro, fuck that. If you in America, you need to get the fuck up out of there.
Exactly. Like
you're an American citizen and you in Russia, you need to leave ASAP.
And then they were also like bring our dude back here. That's an American citizen. How dare you keep him over there? Yada yada. They're like people were going crazy for that dude. But this black WNBA player gets caught with weed over in Russia, and they're not saying the same things. Why? Why are they not like, yo, that's an American citizen? Then you need to get them back over here. How dare you keep our people like that and try to like punish them like this? Blah blah blah. Whatever.
No, they are, but you know how it is. There's a whole invasion Russia's kind of doing right now. So, they definitely trying to flex some shit right now. They trying to flex. That's what this is.
Nah, this is pre Russia Ukraine latest let's break out into the war type situation. She's been there for like a long time over this charge, and they are just keeping her. And the people who are like, yeah, she needs to come back, are getting told by the people who said that other kid needs to come back. They're getting told by those people, nah, man, she committed a crime. That's why she's over there. She's a criminal. And it's like, what do you mean by that? Like, what would she get charged if she was over here and she had it? Not that much jail time, right? They just now got to a point where she pleaded guilty because obviously she's not going to plead innocent on a possession charge when they got her like dead to rights. Like, oh, she had the weed on her. Like, yeah, sure, okay, fine. It's not a matter of like whether or not she had it. It's a matter of the severity of the charge. Like, there was no possession with intent to distribute that. There was no possession with the intent to harm people. It's weed, bro. It's weed. It's really strange. It just seems like this keeps getting buried, And then every once in a while, it gets brought up again of like, yeah, she's still over there. It's like, again, it's like the ASAP Rocky thing. If it were, it's really weird, but that to have to say this, but if it were for Trump being like, yo, ASAP Rocky's my guy, yo, we gotta get him back over here. What are you talking about, man? They're keeping him over there. And then what? He was in like, I forget what country it was, but ASAP Rocky was there for like maybe a month and change, and then they finally like brought him back over here, regardless of the fact that he was guilty of like possession or over there. You know, it should be the same sort of thing. Like, why is it that all of a sudden this woman is now forced to stay in this foreign country that she was visiting on business because they saw her with weed on the plane on her way out of there? Like, it's fucked up. And you know, if they're going based on like Russia,
is it actually weed or was it vape cartridges?
I think it might have actually been like what is it? Like vape cartridges that had like weed in them or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that weed equivalent of the vaping.
Mm.
So it's like, that's even worse because that's even less harmful, it seems, to anybody but her. You know, like it's not like the vapors from that are gonna suddenly like put anyone into some sort of feral rage or like poison everyone on the plane or any shit like that. Like, it's not the case.
Because I don't know, it's one of the weird. It's one of those weird things because it's very like it's not similar, but it's also just as off-putting as when that one tennis player all of a sudden just disappeared.
Yeah.
Just she's fine.
Yeah, the Chinese one, yeah. When people were asking about it, and then like what, China was like, nah, man, she's all right. And I think like someone in her camp was like, no, guys, don't worry about it. She's okay. And it's like, it's like, don't worry. There are no crimes here in Ba Sing Se. Don't worry.
Like, no, Ba Sing, no, bro.
It's like, don't do this. It's like, we know what this is. This is like, Brittany Griner is not Julian Assange. Like, she's not a traitor of the state or any weird shit like that. She's an American citizen who is an athlete for America and is suddenly being like railroaded for what shouldn't be a major charge, and nobody wants to do anything about it, it seems.
Like, I don't know. It was just weird because her translator, I don't know if you saw that, like, it was kind of like an awkward interview, but if you like see the transcript, it says her translation says, I'm a completely normal girl, a completely ordinary tennis player. Yeah. And it's like, look, I don't want to read in between the lines, but that shit sounds like,
help me. It's like, help me.
I'm not saying I'm dying, but you know, there's some threats going on back here. Because remember, an hour after she made the accusation of the sexual assault, it was wiped by the Chinese government within an hour.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden, whoop, can't find her. No contact for a couple months. It's mad weird, bro.
Yeah, and like people are trying to say, "Oh, Brittany Griner pleaded guilty, therefore, you know, whatever the Russian courts do to her, she deserves because she's guilty and she admits she's being guilty or whatever." It's like, it's a possession charge, bro. Possession of weed. Like, she didn't have like meth or heroin or LSD.
No, they're saying that the oil that was in the vape cartridges can lead up to, get this, a sentencing of 10 years.
Exactly. They're gonna fucking railroad her over there, and like, what is this?
That's a whole decade, y'all. That's over 3,000 days, bro.
Like, something needs to be done to like get her back over here, because that's really fucked up. That she's facing 10 years for like a vape cartridge. Like, I hope that this ends up being a situation where she can get home, because it's really messed up that she's stuck in this foreign country having to deal with this situation. when she was on her way home. Like she was not even like it didn't seem like she was trying to even like use that while she was in Russia. It was just a matter of like the plane didn't take off, and somehow Russian
It was delayed
like,
45 minutes.
Right, the Russian cops got on the plane and were like, "Nah, we need to get her off right now." Which absolutely
Because remember,
insane.
there are also other American detainees that they're probably going to have to negotiate for too.
Yes.
Like it's not just a Brittany Griner. Like it's a Brittany Griner because she's probably the most popular and most relevant to the people who are behind bars over there. But she's not the only one who's going to be on that negotiation table, I assure you.
I believe that. I mean, like, what happened to her whole team that she was with? Did they get, charged as accessories? Did they get to go home? Like, what's up with that? Like, I don't know, man. It's really fucked up. It's just really fucked up that someone would have to get into a situation like that just by going to this foreign country for work.
It's just one of those things where it's like it's definitely really stupid. You can definitely tell this is one of those. This system is definitely rigged against this person. But I hate the people who are missing the big picture here, and they're trying to hyper fixate on. And this is why WNBA players need to be paid as much as NBA players, and it's like that is not relevant to this issue at all.
Yeah. How much she
whatsoever.
got paid would not have stopped her from getting arrested. If it was LeBron, he probably still would have gotten in the same situation in Russia.
Because once again, like Russia is not really what we would call happy with our political decisions as of late. And as you could tell, the vast majority of the world, even a lot of Russians, are not happy about Russia's political movements over the past several, well, I could say months. I'd even dare to say years. And with all that being said, it's a very hostile environment over there. And if they think that this will give them a leg up, they're going to do it. Even if it is railroading LeBron James, it's easy to say that it wouldn't have happened. It's easy to say that. But at the same time, people would have said it's been very easy not to go to war. It's been very easy for them to just go, you know what? Just leave them over there. They're fine. But that man went into Ukraine. Even if it was with a half-cocked plane, he did it.
Yep.
The court systems just love the land of big fish. The bigger, the better. And you think LeBron James isn't a big fish? Come on now. Now, granted, he may have the money at his disposal to pay his way out, but don't act like because it's LeBron, they wouldn't have tried to fuck him because, I know someone who's getting a little bit over $220,000 a year, and he was also a black male. His name was ASAP Rocky.
Yep.
And they definitely had that man sweating a little bit. Perspiring even over there.
He had to worry about slipping on some jism in the prisons over there, man. Come on. Don't scare that man like that.
So it's like don't say that it can't happen. Because it definitely can.
Yeah. And like we're only talking about this because Brittany Griner is a WNBA player. Like if this was just like a random citizen, probably wouldn't have been in the news. No one would know about it. This person would have been lost in the system over there, which is scary.
Look, ASAP Rocky's very connected because any man that can date a Jenner, Rihanna, and a Victoria's Secret model clearly is well connected in some way, shape, form, or facet. And he got stuck over there. So I just don't feel as though the LeBron argument is really doing y'all any favors.
Right.
Now, granted, you could make the argument that America might fight a little bit harder if it was LeBron. But to say that Russia wouldn't have tried it, y'all don't know Russia. Y'all don't know. They are we'll look for the smoke and apologize it if shit goes bad. They're not looking for diplomacy first. That's not the MO.
Russia is definitely not the ones that are going to like have any kind of sympathy towards this sort of thing. So
I mean,
I don't
hell,
know.
they'll beat
It's fucked up.
their own people for protesting.
Yeah.
Like, yes, we've had definitely some issues with like tear gas, but usually that shit's like some last second, then they go ham, and then obviously you have a few officers that take it too far. In Russia, they get out the truck and commence the beating. Like, there is no back up. It's immediately 5-hit combo. Great. Like, it's just not good. But that's one of those it is what it is situations, I suppose. We'll see what more details coming out on that later. And then we have to talk about good old Goldman Sachs. And I know this is an old interview. This is something that happened before the pandemic. But for those of you who don't know, Mr. Sachs said, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. There's no money in the cure. There's no money for curing people. It's not a sustainable business model in capitalist countries. It's better to get somebody on a finance plan and have someone be on preventative measures, or what we would like to call modern day medication, to where it can hide your symptoms, but you still got whatever it is that you got. And we'll just keep you on that for years and years and years until you eventually croak, or you give up and just say, I'm going to just live with the ailment.
Yep.
There's much more money in getting a return customer than it is to say, hey, you take this and you'll never have to come back and we won't have to deal with this anymore. And the only reason why we bring this up is because, obviously we're on let me knock on wood, the back end of the pandemic now. And as you guys can clearly see, there are plenty of people who are still getting sick. There are people who've gotten these COVID coughs, the cough where you have this and you've got it for 6 months. Some people have it up to a year. Some people haven't gotten rid of it, which, let's be honest, as far as cardiovascular health goes, that is some concerning shit that scares me, especially since I know people who have had COVID. And let's just say they've been coughing a little bit more than I typically remember once they, get over their COVID symptoms. But this whole notion of, is it financially responsible for a pharmaceutical company or any sort of, big med company to actually take the time to cure an important disease? Or whether they should just continue to line their pockets by, just handing out a little bit of installments of peace of mind? You got to start asking yourself the hard questions. How fucked are the morals of the people in charge over there when they can be blinded by a lot of green? And I'm not talking about hemp. I'm not talking about them vape cartridges. I'm talking about good old Benny Frank all the way down to George Washington.
Yep. And the thing is, this is like America's worst kept secret. We know just by looking at other industries that this is how the industry has probably worked for several years. Think about the automotive industry. There's literally a point in time where cars were built so well, so indestructible almost, that people only needed to buy one car for their lifetime, basically. And so not enough people were buying cars. And what was the solution that the auto industry had? We have to make the cars worse so that people have to come back every couple of years to buy more cars so that we can make more money. And, we know that. That's why, if you have an older car getting into a wreck with a newer car, 9 times out of 10, the older car is going to come out almost unscathed or with as little damage or less damage than the newer car. But, the industry has to make money so they can continue to make cars for people, even though, cars are kind of a necessity at this point with the way that society is made. But they were like, hey, we make them shittier, people are going to buy them, and that's that. And people, they could say, hey, why is this less good than the last car that I bought? Oh, well, sir, that's just new technology, blah, blah, blah,
that's
whatever.
That's just the way it is.
Yep. Oh, all right. Well, I mean, I do need a car, so and that's it.
It's like either you get a car or you walk in, like, or you take the bus. Like what? You either you get down or you lay down. That's unfortunately that's just kind of how the auto market is.
Exactly, and that's how medicine is too. Well, you know, it's like you can
But medicine is
complain.
worse because it's either you get down or you get in the dirt. Like
Exactly, like you can complain as much as you want. He's like, "Yo, don't you have the technology to make something that will just cure this for me?" It's like, but I only have like 2 weeks, so like give me that pill that'll give me like 2 months, please. Like you can't argue with that when your life is literally on the line. So of course they have like a chokehold on these things. And
it's like what y'all gonna do in mass? Y'all gonna protest? Well, there's gonna be a lot of plots in the ground.
yeah, and on top of that,
them funeral home stocks about to go up.
it's so much more beneficial to have these these pills and drugs that are just gonna like make it better for X amount of time versus making it better permanently, because people are also getting addicted to those things. And so
even if they do somehow were to cure it, you still being a repeat customer because you buying the shit anyway.
Exactly.
And some of y'all, while actually still sick, not only do you buy it, you buy more than you're supposed to, because some of it is for genuine health purposes and some are for recreation.
Yep. We're at a point in time when like television characters on like teen drama shows can have HIV and then be like, but no, I live a normal life and I don't get like any bad infections and whatnot because I have this concoction of drugs that I take every day that makes it so feel like I don't even have it. But somehow we can't say, yeah, and this company that made these drugs that are preventing me from breaking out into whatever, they have also made something that is just taking it away entirely. Like, not only can I not spread it to people, I also don't have it anymore. Like, you really think that years after a television character has that as a plot line that nobody decided, hey, why don't we just like improve this technology a little bit more and and we can actually cure it entirely? Nah, man. Like it's definitely been cured. And
The only time we gonna cure something is when it's some shit that is stopping capitalism, like polio.
Exactly.
Oh, y'all can't even drive cars and walk to work? Nah, we gotta nip that one in the bud, bro. COVID. Oh, y'all just not going outside? Oh, that just won't do. We gonna find something for that.
Exactly.
Oh, what? You can't get your dick sucked? Sorry, nothing we could do. Oh, your dick don't go up no more? Oh, take this right before you fuck. You'll be fine.
Yeah, it's like, well, the president still has to get his dick up, so we got to do something about that. Like, there ain't no fucking way. I mean, like, look, remember all the people who are talking shit like, yo, COVID ain't shit. It ain't gonna do nothing to me. It's just a cold. And then all of a sudden, Donald Trump got it, and it's like, oh shit, we need to get all the advanced drugs as much as possible. We need to pump it up with everything, man. We gotta, where's that vaccine? We gotta give it to him right now. And then
where's Joe Button? Pump it up, bro.
Yeah, Trump himself was like, hey, guys, that vaccine is it's pretty dope. I mean, it got to save my life. So maybe you guys should consider getting it.
1-800-OUR-BAD. But, as much as we were talking about death earlier in the last segment, we're not going to spend too much time on this one. This one's a bit of a downer, but, in Texas, in the middle of a fucking heat wave, we got 46 migrants just dead in the back of an 18-wheeler. That was supposed to be a refrigerated truck, but no AC unit present. So they just out here baking in a 103-degree trailer with a bunch of body heat also inside of it, just catching heat strokes and dying on top of each other. And, some people are saying, some people have the hot take of good riddance, get those illegals out of here. And it's just like,
relax. You are crazy if you're saying something like that. Those are lives. Those are people. And you want somebody to say that about your family? Like, what the hell?
And it's just like, look, God forbid some wild shit like this happen, but let's just say for whatever reason, a big ass, we'll just call it a meteorite. And it's just big enough to wipe out, let's just say, slightly north of Mexico.
Look up.
Oh God, there was a movie about that. But it was just enough to really wipe out everything east of the Mississippi and everything north of Texas. So like all we still got is like California, Nevada, Washington, and you know what? Maybe we'll just say fuck it. We'll toss Oregon. Oregon's safe. And let's just say we only have like states over in those areas, right?
Right.
Obviously, a lot of people are going to go over there, but some people are going to go north to Canada. Now, let's just say Canada is just as hard to enter as it is for the United States. A lot of you are going to get fucked.
Yep.
And look, I'm not saying that, you know, Mexico's been hit by a giant meteor, but let me just tell you, outside of those tourist spots that you know about, like real Mexico, not a good place. Not a good place.
At all.
Never forget that social media, that social media dude. Dude made a TikTok talking about the Mexican cartel, in which he just made a couple of jokes. And the last TikTok that was ever uploaded on his account was his disembodied head and his dental and his fucking like jaw just being filmed, going ha 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 ha, and then like, you know, the dudes who killed him going ha 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 ha. That's crazy.
Yep. Don't fuck around with that.
Yeah, he found out. That gap narrowed real quick.
Look, it really sucks that those people were left in that truck in this heat, you know? Like, there's not really much else to say. It's really sad. The person who was driving the truck who just left them there, that person sucks. It would have been better for them to have been, like, caught and then put into some sort of, like, facility as opposed to just dying in this horrible heat in this truck, hoping that someone is going to like come and open it up and rescue them. Now, allegedly, there were some people who were still alive when they opened the truck. I don't know if they got hospitalized and are okay now, but yeah, still 46 people dead because they were left in a truck because of our system. And you have all these politicians who are saying it's Biden's fault because of open borders. It's like, if the borders were open, then those people wouldn't have been in the truck. You know what I mean? It does suck. It is somewhat on him that these people were put in a situation where they were like stuck in this truck and they couldn't just seek asylum properly and not have to deal with getting, I don't know, deported while they're seeking asylum and shit like that. But people are just going to see this story and be like, wow, that's sad, and then just move on because they're not affected directly by this. But those are all human beings who died, you know? The whole point of the American dream and America is supposed to be freedom, but you're like, it's freedom for us, man, not for you. You can't just come out here and steal some of my freedom.
The American dream is one of those dreams. They not only do they sell it to you, they put tax on it.
Yeah.
And that shit is infected and affected heavily by inflation. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, it is.
Because some of y'all's rent, y'all better catch a roommate. Some of y'all went from being able to afford your spot to needing a roommate. Some of y'all went from being able to afford your spot to needing 2 roommates.
Yeah, you know, we don't talk about that enough. You know, because everybody wants to tell them like, oh, that's only happening because of the migrants coming in here and COVID and all this other stuff.
And it's like, yeah, your ass about to be a migrant. The fuck you told me you ain't got no house.
It's like please tell me you don't understand our economy, which is actually how it's structured. It's like the freaking stock market where it's like it's complicated on purpose so that common people don't understand when they're being like fucked over, so that, you know, the people who are doing the fucking can be like,
look,
yeah, it's crazy.
The real question you need to ask yourself is, how is it that no matter how far away the land is that I'm, you know, doing my transaction, y'all can take it out of my bank account within 35 seconds of me actually making the transaction. But when money go into my account, it take 4 or 5 days to a week. And then I got to talk to somebody on the phone to make sure. You know?
Mm-hmm.
But when it come out, bro, I can literally make a transaction and get the notification on my phone as I'm getting the card back in my hand.
Mhm. Someone can make a transaction on my account unbeknownst to me, and the money is gone faster than I can say, "Hey, that wasn't
That's
me."
not me. When they say, "Oh, it'll take us anywhere from 48 to 72 hours to get your money back," and it's like, what the hell? I just told you it wasn't me.
Well,
I'm
sir, we have to
literally,
approve that. We have to make sure that it wasn't you. We have to verify, and then we have to go to
sir.
the
I
people
was
who
at
got
sir. Listen to me. I was at the bank 45 minutes ago. You saw me. I talked to you, and you telling me that I'm buying stuff in Seoul, Korea, at a coffee shop?
it.
What do you mean?
Yeah, well, sir, with technology these days, I mean,
So I
people
got
can
a
do a lot of
teleporter.
things.
I got a teleporter. Word.
Mhm.
You better talk
Well,
to somebody.
well, now that we have the metaverse, anything is possible,
All
right?
right, pal. Yeah, I'm over here buying. I'm over here slinging crack on VR chat, bro. Oh, but yeah, Yeah, I guess in positive news, DNF Duel is out. I don't know how long people are going to be playing that though.
2 more weeks.
Because I don't
Two
know,
more weeks.
it just feels like it's one of those games that like it's gonna be real hype. Like I'm having a good time with it, but it just feels like one of those games that like once people start solving it and putting two and two together, it's gonna get to a point to where you just not gonna get held. Like you just not like, oh, I'm gonna push a button. GG's.
Yeah, and
It's
that's
a
like
it's
a system-wide thing.
especially since tournaments are running it 2 out of 3,
And
not
that
3 out of
sucks
5.
too, because like 2 out of 3 right now has to be the standard because so many people don't know exactly how to play the game. But once the meta like evolves, those games are going to be very quick. And
That's what I was
probably the
saying.
game's probably going to get patched to make that even quicker. Like it's not going to be Dragon Ball. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It sucks because it's all about this concept of like let's make the game so simple that anybody can pick it up and play it. Like yeah, that's the case, but it's also too simple for a lot of people to like come out and like have like a real like enjoyment of the game because there are certain aspects that you nerfed just so that you can make it simple to casual players. But it's like okay, it's like I heard like a speedrunner talking about the state of Streets of Rage 4 and the state of that game and also this new TMNT game that came out and how Streets of Rage 4 has gotten all kinds of patches where they made all kinds of changes to these characters. It's a beat 'em up game. It's PvE. Yeah, it has a PvP system in it. It has a PvP mode, but the game is not built to be used with PvP. People aren't playing PvP like that. These speedrunners and these like competitive like players are playing PvE mode and yet they're like nerfing characters, they're nerfing systems. Like the last patch that came out for the game, they made it so that you can't buffer a jump anymore. Like there are all kinds of like crazy, like advanced, tech that's been discovered in the game, and you can't even do a lot of it because of this change. And casual players don't know anything about that. With the when the DLC came out, that's when they had a mode that was telling people about some of these advanced things, so that some of them could like learn it if they want to. But casual players they're gonna show up, they're gonna hit 1, 2, 3 special, and then they're gonna be like, "Wow, this is really cool! I beat up that guy," and then that's it. They're gonna play through the game a couple of times. They're gonna have fun. They might play with friends, and then that's it. Nothing else. But developers are like, no, we got to nerf all this like complicated shit. Otherwise, people won't buy our game. They might buy your game because of the complicated shit. That makes it like more entertaining. You want to see some dude do some like crazy, like technical, like whatchamahoozits when they're playing the game, as opposed to he hit A, B, C, and then he hit B 6 times in a row with like a 2-second delay between the presses. Wow. Awesome. Like people are
Mind
eventually going to get
blown.
bored. And that's like the DNF duel problem, where it's like, okay, the combos and like the meta, it's eventually going to get to a point where you're going to see the same combo 6 times in like one match, and people are going to be like, oh, well, he's going to mix them up again. Well, that's nice. You know, snap meta in Dragon Ball Fighters, that became boring to watch because it was like you couldn't kill characters, you just kept snapping in people in a loop where it was like matches would be like 30 fucking minutes of like, oh, I hit you, all right, well, I can't kill you, so I'm gonna snap in this other character and I'm gonna hit him, and then I'm gonna snap in the other character again, and then maybe I'll kill him. And it's like, come on, man, like your game has to be playable, but it also has to be entertaining to people. Like, some people just like to watch
True.
the game. And you have a whole platform that's dedicated to people watching other people play video games. Like, factor that into. It's okay if your game is like got some wild and crazy shit in it. Some people, most people actually think that's cool. Marvel 2 is one of the most popular fighting games for a reason. It may be a complicated game. It's got things for casuals, but it's also got things for people who are trying to watch it competitively. And casual people will watch competitive Marvel 2 and be like, that's fucking cool. It's not the same for some other games, and especially not games where it's like you've simplified everything, The casual Mortal Kombat 11 player is not going to watch like, high level tournament play and always be like, damn, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. They'll be kind of like, this was kind of cool, I guess. And then that's it. Let's not even get into the whole like custom variations thing with that game, and Jesus Christ. It's weird. Fighting game developers don't like seem to understand that they have these competitive scenes that keep their games alive and keep their series like
Nah, they not
profitable.
worried about that, bro.
Yeah, but they're so worried about the casual player who's gonna buy the game and then maybe play it for like a couple of weeks and keep it on their shelf, that like they're like, I'm not gonna worry about the people who are actually gonna play my game for like years and years and years to come. I'm worried about the person who's gonna play it for like 2 days, which doesn't make sense, because if you want more people to buy your game after it's been out for X amount of years, you want the casual players to get what they want, because not the casual, the competitive players to get what they want, because the casual player is going to see that and be like, I want to start playing that game. Games like Marvel 3, you have this new breed of like people in the FGC who did not, play Marvel 3, or they did not play Street Fighter 4 or Marvel 2 or Third Strike and all these things, because they, literally were born after those games had their heyday, and now they're playing like Dragon Ball Fighters or DNF Duel or Guilty Gear Strive, and they're seeing all this hype and all this stuff about these older games, and they're like, especially now that they had like more of like downtime during the pandemic, they're like, I want to start playing that game now. And now you have a whole new generation of people who are playing those games, and they're having fun and they're doing well. They're like,
Look, don't tell me that people
pros.
don't tell me people don't like broke stuff. I'm looking at Dragon Ball Fighters, and that game is getting more love than it has in recent years. And all they did was say, they said, "Oh, we'll just inject some cocaine into it," and everybody broke. Now everybody broke.
Mm-hmm. Like, holy shit, like what is it, Majin Obama recently like he put out a video, I think like yesterday, basically talking about the Sanford classic video where he's like, pick a top tier. Everyone quotes that because if you want to be good, you want to be the best, or you want to do the best in tournaments and whatnot, you got to pick a top tier. But now the meta has changed thanks to these games getting patched all the time. You want to pick a mid tier, because your mid-tier character is probably going to get left alone for the majority of the lifespan of this game. And if they get touched, it's probably going to be a few buffs. Low-tier characters probably going to get buffed and then get too strong and then get nerfed. I mean, like what? Bang in what is it, CS1, I believe? Game comes out, one of the best characters in the game. Bang and Lychee, best characters in the game. And they're like, holy shit, sorry, we have to nerf them. They're too good. People, Bang should never have been this good. And has the character been that good ever since? No. He's been mid-tier ever since at best. The fucking Lychee has, push their way to still be like good and relevant and whatnot, but that's because that character design was always going to be good. The woman has a stick that she could set up for like sandwich combos. Carl Clover, Relius Clover, those characters archetypes are never not going to be good. If you have something that can summon something else that can like help you get your offense off, the only way to make them bad is to make them unplayable, and you don't want to do that. So these games that are like deciding, hey, we need to patch this character here and this thing here and whatnot, they need to take into consideration that people want to play their games and do cool shit. So don't rob them of that opportunity by saying it's unfair that random online player is like complaining about a character being too strong in certain aspects. There are ways to get around it. Like you can buff the system so that there are options to deal with it, so that it's on the player to understand the options, but you can't just nerf the character and be like, hey, now the game is great, right guys? Like, no. The game will be playable, maybe, or people who play that character will either drop the game or have to play a new character, or they'll get tired of the cycle of, I have to play a new character again because my character got dropped.
My character got sent to the realm.
Yeah, for being competent. For taking it full advantage of the system that the game uses.
Well, I feel like there are some characters that are designed with the system mechanics in mind, and then there are some that are good, but not because of the system mechanics. So once they get tuned in line, it's like, well, the system mechanics don't help them, so they suck. Thank you for nerfing them.
Like, you bum. You talked about Dragon Ball. Android 21 got nerfed so that you can't combo into her command grab super anymore, the debuff super. That character was designed for this debuff super to be like a part of her, like, her kit, a part of her meta. And instead of like, nerfing the super so that, it doesn't debuff people to a point where like they can't play the game, instead they're like, let's just take it out of this person's repertoire and make it so that it's just like a good guess. Like they do it raw and then they hope for the best, and it works out, and maybe they get those same benefits. It's like, just lower the benefits, because now you're making this character have to play completely different. And like, yeah, she's still strong, she still has all these other tools that are good, but like, you are changing the way the character was built. And you guys spent, however long designing this character to be played a certain way, and you're like, fuck, they don't like it. Let's just patch it and hope for the best. Like, no, stick with your design, because different designs for different characters make the game more interesting. If the design is too strong, like, you change aspects of the design itself that are, doing too much. Like if there's a debuff that's taking away too much damage from characters, or, giving this character too much damage or whatever, just lower that number so that the character can still like work on that archetype, just not dominate the fucking meta with that archetype, give other characters like tools to deal with that sort of thing. Whatever, like add a mechanic that counters the debuff, something, but don't punish people who genuinely like the character and the character's design by saying, oh shit, people can't handle it, so let's just completely change the design entirely and then hope for the best. Like, the character, 9 times out of 10 when that happens, the character becomes unplayable and people just don't want to, like, no, you don't see that character anymore.
You'll never see it again.
I mean, shit, remember when Scorpion got nerfed in Injustice 1? Like, did you see Scorpion players anymore? No.
Nah, man. They might as well just remove them. They might as well upload that character back to the server.
Exactly.
Because they are what we call not good.
And what do you do about
big
that?
mid. I don't know. I'm not really sure what you can do, man. Everyone's just like, no, man, they're meant to be competitive. And I was like, 98% of the people who are going to buy the game, I can promise you, are never going to compete. You got to win the 98% and then touch things up for the 2%.
Yep.
But win the 98% first.
Yep.
when you come in there just trying to appease the competitive crowd and you want to be like, we're esports ready, you end up with Fighting Layer EX.
Yeah, honestly,
because that
they
game
put
was
all
trying
their
to
money
sell
into
you
that game.
specifically on mechanics, and it's like, okay, but can you do cool shit? DNF, they ain't give a fuck about the competitive scene. They just said you can do shit, all the shit, all the time too. All the time, and everyone's loving it.
Fighting Layer EX, yeah, Fexel is a good game. It sucks that people were so like off put by the Gogi system. That's like, if I meet these criteria, I get these buffs, blah blah blah, whatever. That's cool on a casual level. On a competitive level, there are some cracked out things, and they adjusted the game for that. But then people are just kind of like the gameplay itself, or like the drip, the characters, etc., is kind of weak. It's not enough to get us to keep playing the game. And now this company, they put all their money into this game, are who knows when they're going to be able to like make something else, because they really put their heart and soul into this game, and they made a good product, and people kind of ignored it after a little while because they were off put by like some cards. It's like Gems and Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
Oh,
Street Fighter Cross
Lord.
Tekken became a good game, but
it was too late. It got good too late. That sucks. It just got good too late.
The thing is, what is it? Devs worrying about longevity and like people playing their game would only have to focus on that because of like future DLC, costumes in Street Fighter 5, characters in Tekken 7, frame data in Tekken 7, all of that shit being sold for like, extra money so that they can keep updating this game or whatever. Casual players are most likely not the ones you bank on to play the game long enough to buy your DLC. It's nice if they do, but it's not likely they will unless they become competitive players. So like, why not care about the competitive scene as opposed to the casual scene and whatnot? If you have a good enough game, people will buy it.
Yeah, people will come through.
Like, think about Marvel 3 versus Marvel Infinite.
Well, Marvel Infinite wasn't a game that was made for Marvel fans. It was just a game that was made.
Exactly. You have one that is an all-around great product for just fans of the characters that are involved in the series. You don't have to be a fan of fighting games. You can just be a fan of Marvel characters or Capcom characters, and you have a great product. Marvel Infinite it's good for fans of like fighting games. It's good for fans of competitive games. It's not good for casual fans of Marvel products or Capcom games, because the like regular like game aspect was not fucking great. It even had that story mode that was like sold as like being like super deep and super great and whatnot, and it was kind of whack.
How bad was it?
Well, the end when when Thanos shows up to death, and she's like, well, Thanos, what are you doing over here? She's like, you don't have the Infinity Gauntlet anymore, so what do you think this is? And he just pulls out his glove, and he's like, the power of the Satsui no Hado is much stronger, and they ended on a cliffhanger, and it was like,
you thought you were getting another game, huh?
Yeah, like, where were you going with that?
I found an even greater power, and I was like, if you're telling me Ryu's got more power than the Infinity Gauntlet, then like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yep. But it's okay, because Street Fighter 6 will save us.
People putting a lot of stock in that.
Yeah, well, we can only hope for the best. Like, I want Street Fighter 6 to be amazing. I know a lot of people will buy it because, right, even just the stuff they've announced, casual players are, invested. It looks like it's going to be very, very appealing to them. It's flashy. It's got the characters that you like, all that shit. But I want it to overall be a good game that doesn't have the Street Fighter 5 problems, Don't worry too much about appealing to the casuals. And they have aspects that are like there to help casuals like, start playing the game and be good. But never forget the Ryu concept. You know, Ryu was put in all these fighting games. The Ryu like archetype was put in fighting games to teach you how to play the game. You
And
know,
then you go from there.
yeah, teach you how the system works, teach you the fundamentals, and then if you want to keep playing that character, you can. If you want to play the other characters, you can. But you know, then that Street Fighter V came out, and they're like, Ryu is too strong because his fundamentals are too good in this game, or whatever. And then they nerf Ryu, and it was like, did you forget what he represents? Like, he's not teaching anybody how to play Street Fighter V.
That man is teaching you how to play fighting games. 5, on the other hand, is not necessarily a fighting game because I don't know. It feels like Street Fighter V had like 5 different meta games for each season.
It did.
Like, it felt like the game was never like the core of what the game was not the same because 2 of those seasons added new mechanics altogether.
Yeah, added new characters who had their own like new mechanics that was like ridiculous. It just like shat on whatever mechanics you had in the game already.
But you know, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. So buy DNF Duel or don't, everyone.
If you like DFO, then
definitely get the game.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna tell you right now, wait for a sale because I'm telling you right now, this is a big spoiler, and by spoiler I mean it's not really a spoiler. The story mode is not an actual story mode. The story mode is arcade ladders for your characters, which means all of them are not canon. That's all the story mode is. The only other thing you're doing on that is going into the lab or online casual or online rank. That is it. That's the game. Not worth $49.99 in my opinion. Catch it for $29, maybe catch it for $19.99. Now, in game, when you're in the game, health bars on the screen, ready to fight, game is immaculate. Competitively balanced? No. Competitively shit show. But as far as having fun and cool characters doing cool things all the time, this game has it all. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. It's been about it's been about 100 minutes, folks. I think that's about all time we got time for today, unless you want to talk about Activision Blizzard. Or we can start that off next week.
Real quick, Activision Blizzard, they keep getting away with it, man. There's an $18 million settlement that Activision Blizzard, got. So they're getting off by just paying $18 million, which means they're getting off kind of light on this.
Very light.
Yeah, because they're also being bought out for like 3 times as much.
They ended harassment by making money.
Corporate America, there's so many things that can be said about that, but you know the vibes. It just sucks that the victims of this whole situation don't get compensation for this in the right way. Instead, Activision Blizzard pays $18 million, and then they get a fraction of that, which based on payouts for stimuluses and whatnot, they might not even get that much money, and it might also get taxed. So it sucks, but hopefully the company that buys Activision Blizzard decides that they don't need problematic people in the company, and they get rid of the people who still have this mentality that would lead to that kind of behavior, and they can grow as a company and do better, because that's what really matters. Overwatch 2 is coming. When does Overwatch 2 come out? It's gonna be
3
free to play,
months.
right?
Free to play, 3 months.
I think I'll play that. Also, real quick about Overwatch 2, since I believe you played the beta. I heard that they took out all CC. What's that?
Most.
Okay.
Lucio still has boop. Some characters still have stuff, but McCree doesn't have stun. Brig doesn't have stun. Hog still has hook. Mei can't freeze you anymore unless it's with her ult. Orisa doesn't have pull. All the CCs that were ults still CC.
Okay.
And yeah, everybody else lost all like their quick stuns. So all quick stuns are gone. So when you're Reinhardt, you don't have to worry about walking forward and be like, good, I'm down. So yeah, that doesn't happen anymore.
I didn't play any of that beta, but like, you know, it's been years since I played Overwatch. With this game being free to play, I'll probably download it and play it. Because, you know, Overwatch was not an awful, you know, video game. It just, after a while, it was just like, I'm tired of this. You know what I mean? A lot of people were just like, I'm tired of this. So it's a good product. It's good enough to get people to play it. So
indeed,
we'll see.
But yeah,
what did you think about the beta?
The beta. All right, so I think Overwatch is really fun, but I don't know if that's because we haven't cracked it yet.
Yeah.
Like, because you got to remember, in the beta, everyone's just shit posting. Like, no one's taking it seriously. We don't know what happens when like people are playing for the actual W and securing it, and when we start learning quirks within the system of the game. Because for all we know, once again, we're still in another beta right now, which means this is probably not even the game we're getting in October.
Right.
But don't get me wrong, it's fun. Being able to play tank and know that you can move without fear of everyone stunning you is great. And on the flip side of being a DPS player, it's great to know that you can't see two shield heroes at the same time. That's immaculate. Knowing that I can actually shoot at the enemy team and not just get cucked for 24 hours, it's great. It's great. The only people who I think got shafted in Overwatch 2 are the supports, because technically all they did was get nerfed.
Yeah.
Because we didn't even get a new support hero. Yeah. All the new heroes are tanks and DPS. So if you're a support main, you're still playing Overwatch 1. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Hate to see it.
You could always play Battle Mercy, right?
I'm going to go ahead and report the Battle Mercy, not healing. Anyways, I think that's going to be about it. I still can't believe Blizzard got away with 18 mil.
Yeah.
All the stuff they did, they got to pay that. You know what? Never mind.
I feel bad for being the one that was like, you know what, the company is going to be no more. How stupid of me to say that.
Because when you said that, I was like, I think they're going to beat the case, man. That's billion with a B.
I thought that, you know, like I was thinking capitalism had better morals here, and they were just going to be like, yeah, we won't stand for this, and it's not a good look for all of us. So, you know, fuck that. We'll just buy all their products, and we'll be the new big video game company that makes the games. Instead, it's just like,
and then Microsoft was like, we'll pay you and keep your people.
Yep. It's like, oh, of course, the company that keeps buying all these other fucking companies is going to do something. And it's like, God damn it.
You really hate to see it, man.
Hey, man, Modern Warfare 2 coming out soon.
Oh, no. Anyways, we'll see you guys next time. Don't buy Modern Warfare 2. Or do. I can't stop you. Just know I'm very upset. Because this isn't to be confused with Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare 2. This is Modern Warfare 2. Y'all take care.